I was born into a wealthy and powerful family. However, my girlfriend insisted on becoming my wife through thick and thin. She was determined that I build my career from scratch. Unexpectedly, as my business began to thrive, her flaws became more and more apparent. She lost her temper with me at the drop of a hat, always threatening to break up. Later on, after yet another Cold War with Willow, I was just about to type a heartfelt message to make peace, when a bizarre row of floating comments suddenly flashed before my eyes. Here we go again. The female lead got talked into another Cold War by her BFF. How dumb. She walked out from under her friend's umbrella only to realize it wasn't even raining. I'm dying. Keep playing games. Girl, if she really dumps the male lead, her friend's gonna snag his love token the very next second. I froze. Half skeptical, I sent a text that simply said, "Happy breakup," but the next second, my status exploded with likes from her circle of friends. Chapter 1. Willow and I had another fight. This time, she accused me of being too controlling. She snapped, "What's the big deal about grabbing a few drinks with my girlfriends at a bar? It's all girls. Why are you being so uptight? You're seriously getting on my nerves." Willow's tone was extremely impatient. It was already 11:30 p.m. I said, "It's really late. I'm just worried it's not safe out there. And your stomach's been acting up. You really shouldn't drink much." But clearly, Willow didn't care. I could vaguely hear her friends grumbling on the other end of the line. "Willow, your boyfriend's got a real chokehold on you. Huh? Treating you like he owns you. Forget it. Maybe you should just leave. No backbone at all. One day that jerk's gonna drain you dry." Those mocking comments embarrassed Willow. In a fit of rage, she hung up on me. When I called back, she immediately declined. I tried again, but suddenly, a stream of floating comments flashed before my eyes. LOL. The female lead's friend stirred up another fight again. She loves getting picked up by the male lead, but insists on being all cold and distant. Bet her fingers are on fire scrolling her phone right now, waiting for him to call the third time. I stood there stunned. Were these floating messages talking about me? Was I the male lead? Was Willow the female lead? It did kind of make sense. Willow was always awkward and prone to cold wars, but if I made the first move to reconcile, by the third try, she'd usually give in with a reluctant, "Okay." The comments were already pushing me to call again, but my focus shifted to the very first comment. Stirred up, her friends. I frowned and, feeling frustrated, dialed a different number. I asked, "Why do you keep dragging Willow to bars? Don't you think staying out that late is too much?" There was a pause on the other end. A cool, emotionless voice responded, "When did I ever ask Willow to go to a bar?" It was Sophia, Willow's closest friend, also the one who hated me most. She'd always looked down on me and never gave me a friendly face. I was too pissed to care about old grudges. I lashed out, "If it's not you, then who? Tell me which bar she's at right now. It's late. Those places are crawling with shady people. What if something happens to her?" Sophia got an earful from me and snapped back, "I just got home from a trip. I haven't been to any bar." She sent over a photo. In it, the woman had clearly just showered. Her expression was sultry, and the curves of her chest were barely concealed. She added, "Also, I set a curfew for myself, must be home by 10. Then she said, pointedly, "I'm not like others. If I had a boyfriend, I'd always listen to him." Chapter 2. I mumbled an awkward "sorry" and quickly shut off my phone. Because of that ridiculous misunderstanding, I was so embarrassed I completely forgot to call Willow back. It wasn't until the next day that Willow returned home. Her face was cold. I asked if she'd had breakfast, but she completely ignored me, treating me like I was invisible. Then came our class reunion. A week later, Willow and I were still in a Cold War. At the dinner table, we sat far apart. We used to cling to each other all the time, but now we felt like strangers. Makoto naturally slung his arm around Willow's shoulders and teased, "Willow, being petty again. When you're out in public, give your man some face, all right?" Makoto, Willow's childhood friend, back before I showed up. He was also her ex-boyfriend. They had broken up and gotten back together many times, but eventually settled on just being friends. We had fought countless times because of Makoto, but Willow always brushed it off impatiently, saying, "It's not like we didn't date. If we could have worked out, would it ever have been your turn?" Her friends said I was overthinking things. They told me, "Don't you remember how happy Willow was when she accepted your proposal? She truly wanted a serious life with you. She really loves you." And yet, watching the two of them joke and play so intimately, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't normal between just friends. Then the food came. The main dish placed in front of me was stir-fried rice with cured pork. Makoto acted like he'd just realized and exclaimed, "Wow, I messed up. Totally forgot your husband's allergic to cured pork. Willow, why didn't you remind me?" He then generously offered to swap his seafood rice with mine. He said, "The waiter told me it's the last one." Whatever. Your man loves seafood, he can have it. He made me sound like some kind of bully. Like I snatched something just because someone else liked it. Even though it was just a cheap plate of seafood rice. I was about to refuse when Willow suddenly cut in. Eat your own. No need to give it to him. Who does he think he is? The whole table instantly went quiet. Makoto gently patted Willow on the head, furrowing his brows as he coaxed her. Don't be like that. Give your man some dignity. I'm easy. I can eat whatever. But Willow didn't budge. Her voice was loud enough for everyone to hear as she said, "Husband, I only agreed to marry him. We're not even married. And even if we do get married, there's still such a thing as divorce, right?" One of her friends half joked. What's that supposed to mean? Willow, you thinking of breaking up? Willow instinctively denied it. No. Her friend chuckled, covering her mouth. Then said offhandedly, "Knew it. You don't even go clubbing with us anymore. And going to a bar means asking your boyfriend for permission. All this Cold War drama, but breaking up? Not a chance, right?" Willow exploded. Flustered, she puffed up and snapped. "Who says I wouldn't dare? I'll break up right." She was halfway through the word up when she suddenly paused. Her tone shifted as she added, "But hey, I'm not that petty. After all this time together, I'll give him one last chance to apologize." A flash of disappointment crossed that friend's eyes, but Willow didn't see it. Makoto smiled and playfully slung his arm back over Willow's shoulder, joking. "Well then, if you do break up, date me instead. Don't let an outsider get the goods." Willow smirked and tilted her head toward him. Her gaze slid past me, and with a tone full of disdain, she said, "Obviously, some people are still stuck in the dark ages, so full of toxic masculinity. Trying to control everything. Makoto's the best." Chapter 3. Everyone else had left, leaving me standing there alone. They said they were heading to the late-night party, and Willow didn't even spare me a glance before hopping into the car with them. I walked alone along the roadside, the night breeze cutting through me with a chill. I thought, maybe walking by myself isn't so bad. At least it's quiet, it gives me a chance to think things through. Suddenly, a new row of floating comments appeared before my eyes. The male lead is so emotionally clueless. If he'd just coaxed her a little, she definitely wouldn't have left with them. She would have happily followed him home. The female lead's just being stubborn. She's still mad about the bar thing. If the male lead had just called her again, she would have gone home. She waited all night at the bar. Furious. This was the male lead's fault. Why isn't he trying to make it right? I can't stand this. Girls, he's driving me nuts. Why can't he just swallow his pride and apologize? Is it that hard? I pulled out my phone and glanced at it. I knew, if I called her now, she would come home with me immediately, but I only checked the time, then set the phone down again. I gave in and bought a can of beer, drinking it alone by the roadside. So bitter. I couldn't figure out what I'd done wrong. Why did Willow always use these cold wars to force me to back down? I used to think it was just her personality, but it wasn't. She never threw tantrums at anyone else. Even when friends scolded her for no reason, she'd wonder if it was her own fault, and then try to please them. She didn't have a bad temper. She just had a bad temper with me. Every time she got angry, she'd use the word breakup to provoke me, because I'd always give in. But this time, she miscalculated. I walked for 3 hours and finally arrived at the gate of our residential complex. Even though I was so exhausted I nearly passed out, I still didn't call Willow. Chapter 4. When I got back, I packed up my things and moved out without hesitation. For the next 3 days, I didn't message Willow once. Then, surprisingly, she took the initiative to call. In a cold voice, she said, "Hey, pick me up at 8 tonight. I need you to take me to a dinner event." Even though her tone was chilly. This was one of the rare times Willow offered me a way back in, but I turned her down. I said, "I'm not going. Find someone else." The line went quiet. Then Willow's voice came through, incredulous and annoyed. "Someone else? Everyone's going with their boyfriends. Who do you expect me to go with?" I said, "Anyone. Makoto or Martin, maybe." She cut me off. "George, how many times do I have to say this? We're just friends. Do you seriously think this is funny?" I replied, irritated. "You were the one who said you'd break up and date him instead. Want me to repeat your exact words?" Her breathing on the other end turned sharp, clearly furious. She snapped, "Fine, then let's break up. I want to see who ends up crawling back first like a simp." Willow was confident. Her friends didn't know we had ever truly broken up. It was like we'd always left ourselves an escape route, never announcing anything publicly. Most of the time, when Willow said break up, what she really meant was, "I'm mad. You better coax me. Once I'm happy again, we'll be fine." But when only one person keeps giving in, even the deepest love starts to wear out. I said, "Then let's break up." Whether it was during that night at the bar, or even earlier, I think I had already grown tired. Only now do I understand. In Willow's eyes, my concern looked like control. My phone calls made her feel angry and humiliated. If that's the case, then I choose to let go. Willow, I'm giving you what you wanted. Your freedom. Chapter 5. After Willow and I officially broke up, the comment barrage exploded. They came in fast and furious. Wait, what? I was gone for a few days and the male lead and female lead broke up. Ugh. I'm so annoyed. It has to be that group of so-called girlfriends again. Egging her on. Misery loves company. They're single and can't stand to see others in love. LOL. The female lead walked out from under her friend's umbrella and realized it wasn't even raining. Dead. Keep playing games. Girl, now that you've really dumped the male lead, one of your friends is gonna snatch up his love token real quick. Come on. Male lead. Get it together. She's out here flirting with other guys. Go get yourself a hot influencer girlfriend or something. Truthfully. Saying I wasn't upset would be a lie. After all, it was years of being together. You can't just let go overnight. But I couldn't let myself stay down like this. I still had my own life to live. As for what the comments said, I didn't believe them. Willow's friends had always treated me coldly, more than once. I'd been secretly warned by them that I wasn't good enough for Willow, that I should leave her. The most ridiculous incident. Sophia once cornered me at my door and asked bluntly what I saw in Willow. I thought she was just screening me on her friend's behalf. So I purposely grossed her out and said, "She's hot. Big chest. That's my type." The next few days, Sophia posted short videos of herself wearing deep V-neck bodycon dresses, and even tagged me. I figured she was mocking me. So I clapped back, calling her a cheap, tacky flirt. Asked if her family went bankrupt or something. Was that why she was dabbling in softcore content now? It pissed Sophia off so badly, she deleted all the videos the next day. But now, seeing these new comments, I started to hesitate. I tested the waters and posted, "Back to single life. Happy breakup." It was already 2 a.m. I didn't think anyone would care, but to my surprise, the post blew up with likes in seconds. People who had never interacted with my posts were suddenly lining up to like it. I blinked, counted. They were all Willow's friends. Refreshed the feed. A brand new post popped up, just 1 minute ago. From Sophia, 24 years old, 170 centimeters, 36D, top-tier university degree, no ex, no crush, curfew at 10, hates drama, totally obedient, currently single and available. Feel free to flirt. I thought of the comment about getting a hot influencer girlfriend and tapped into Sophia's profile. I messaged her, "Hi." She replied instantly, "So you're finally asking me out? Want to go public now?" I replied, deadpan, "I didn't message you to hit on you." Her last message was immediately unsent. Then she replied, "Oops, wrong person. What's up?" I sighed. "Is Willow with you? Can you get her on the phone?" There was a pause. Then she sneered, "She's not here." "What? You think I'm your messenger pigeon? I'm not part of your couple drama." I explained, "It's not like that. We broke up. I'm reaching out because I want to return her things." I was running out of options. After dating so long, Willow had left a lot of her stuff at my place. The little things. Fine, whatever. But she also left some valuable items. Her rings, her designer bags. I tried sending them via courier. But every time they arrived, Willow wasn't home. These were expensive, needed a signature in person. This stalemate couldn't go on. So I thought of asking Sophia for help. She replied, "Oh, so you really did break up." For some reason, her tone suddenly softened, almost cheerful. She said, "Just send it over by courier. She's here." I blinked. "Didn't you just say she wasn't there?" She replied, "Did I? Must have forgotten. I'm 3 years younger than Willow. You know, young girls are forgetful. Isn't forgetfulness a symptom of old age? Or was she just trying to emphasize how young she was?" Before I could even call out the contradiction, she was already urging me to send the package. She even helpfully reminded me, "Make sure you select cash on delivery. No reason you should pay for anything after a breakup." Chapter 6. I hired a courier. An hour later, the courier sent me a video. In it, Willow stood in the center, surrounded by her friends. One of them said, "See, told you they couldn't really have broken up. Look at this, he's already sending gifts to make up." Though it sounded like teasing, the tone was dripping with jealousy. She said, "Willow, you really landed a great boyfriend. He treats you like a princess. What does he even see in you?" Another chimed in, "Exactly. It's not like any of us are lacking in looks or figure. Honestly, Sophia's way prettier than you. She wins Campus Beauty Queen every year by a landslide." Willow kept a straight face, but the corners of her lips couldn't help lifting slightly. She pressed her lips together and pretended not to care. "Oh, he didn't have to send gifts. Just an apology would have done. I'm not that petty." Someone rolled their eyes, "Then give the gift to me." Willow's face instantly changed. "No way. My boyfriend gave it to me. No one else gets it." She shot a not-so-subtle glance at Sophia's face and said, "So what if someone's prettier? Love isn't just about looks." She added, "To be honest, I still don't want to forgive George. What he did this time was really too low. Too much." But, seeing him all desperate like this, I'll forgive him, just this once. Her fake coyness made everyone around visibly cringe, but they couldn't say anything, so they just turned away and stared off into the distance. Only Sophia looked at the delivery box. For once, she wasn't angry. Instead, she said, "Pay the courier already, will you? The guy's got another delivery. Don't keep him waiting." Sure enough, the courier was standing there looking awkward and impatient. Willow paid the delivery fee, then happily added a 20 yuan tip. The courier beamed and thanked her repeatedly. As soon as she handed it over, she tore into the box with excitement. "I bet it's a necklace," she said. "He spent a fortune on it last time. It was supposed to be my Valentine's gift. I told him something simple was fine, but no. He insisted I deserved the best. Ugh. Sometimes I really can't with him." Then her expression shifted. "Wait, why is there also a handbag? And a ring? Why do they look so familiar?" The more she pulled out, the worse her face looked. Item after item came out, until finally, she found a small box. Inside was a wristwatch. The day Willow accepted my proposal, I held her and joked, "I feel like the happiest man in the world right now. I wish time could just stop, so I could keep this moment forever." Willow had smiled so brightly. She said, "Then I'll give you a happiness that never fades." It was the only gift Willow ever gave me. A stopped watch, frozen at the exact moment I proposed. So I thought Willow truly loved me, but I was too young then. I didn't know love had different weights. Didn't realize that Willow's jealousy, sensitivity, stubbornness, and pride all came before love. A watch might stop, but the one wearing it can still let go, because for me, dignity and trust come before my love for Willow. Chapter 7. In the video, Willow was furious. She didn't care about the value of those things at all. She smashed them like they were her worst enemy. One of her friends tried to hold back a laugh while comforting her. "So what if it's a breakup? Three-legged toads are hard to find, but two-legged men are everywhere. Look on the bright side, he returned your stuff, but didn't ask for the gifts he gave you. At least that means George isn't some petty jerk." The comment barrage lit up again. The female lead's friends are so toxic. Always bad-mouthing the male lead, saying he's cheap, stingy, won't even buy her a house for security. They just want free benefits. Always stirring the pot. Always sowing discord, saying all rich guys are trash. That the male lead's probably cheating behind her back, pushing her to demand a bigger dowry just to break them up and take his place. Thank God our girl actually loves the male lead. She didn't fall for their tricks. I swear, I'm shipping them so hard. Please get back together. The comments said Willow loved me, but I didn't believe it. If she loved me, why didn't she ever get angry when her friends trashed me like that? She was always so chill with them, never lost her temper. Even when they slandered me behind my back, she stayed close to them, told them everything about our relationship, down to the pettiest little fights. That kind of so-called love the comments talked about. It's nothing but a castle in the air, a beautiful illusion, like moonlight in water. That night, Willow made it official on social media. She and Makoto were now a couple. Her post read, "After everything, the one I love most has always been right beside me." As if aiming it at someone, she added, "Even if someone regrets it, I won't forgive him. This is the price he pays for what he did." All her friends, except for Sophia, liked the post in perfect unison. A minute later, Sophia posted her own status. "What a slut. Absolutely disgusting." Willow immediately commented with a question mark. Sophia replied, "Didn't say it was about you." Willow followed up, "I didn't say it was me. I just asked who you meant." Sophia, "Don't mind it. Oh, by the way, guess what? I might be starting a new relationship." Sophia again, "Didn't you see? I said I'm about to start dating someone." And again, "Hello, I said I'm getting into a relationship." Willow replied, "What does your love life have to do with me? Date whoever you want." Sophia shot back, "Then could you wish me and my boyfriend everlasting love and a happy future together?" Willow, "You're so annoying." Fine. Wishing Sophia and her boyfriend everlasting love and 100 years of harmony. Happy now. Sophia, "Thanks." Willow, "You're insane." After that day, Willow started posting about her relationship with Makoto nonstop. Couples restaurants, matching hoodies, cute date selfies. Every time she posted, her friends would go wild tagging me like they were on steroids. I was fed up, blocked them all, every last one, but blocking them online didn't help in real life, because I worked at the same design company as Willow and Makoto. More than once, I ran into them acting all lovey-dovey at the office. No shame, no filter. Willow would pout and say she wanted strawberries. Makoto would indulge her, letting her eat the pointed ends, while he ate the butts of the berries. But whenever they fought over something, Makoto never tried to smooth things over. It was Willow who always lowered her head and apologized first. Watching them felt like watching my old self. Except I wasn't Makoto, I was Willow. I was the one who always bent over backwards. Always the one who made peace. Chapter 8. A few days later, A major client was visiting the company. He had just built a new office building and hired our firm to do the design. Originally, the project was mine. I was the top performing employee and also the strongest designer on the team. But my supervisor and Mr. Liu, the father of Willow Liu, were old acquaintances. He had watched Willow grow up. Willow went to ask him for help. And just like that, the project was handed to Makoto, who had only been with the company for less than 2 years. My supervisor said, "George, Makoto's new. He needs this project to establish himself here. You've been around long enough, you don't need the opportunity. Let him have it." And just like that, I was forced to step aside, missing out on a crucial step toward a promotion. Willow probably knew how much this project meant to me, but she didn't care. She went out of her way to pull strings for her childhood sweetheart, yet demanded that I work hard and not rely on my family's business. I used to be manipulated by her so-called belief in earning everything on your own, but now I've come to realize, whether or not relying on family is okay, that's up to the family to decide. And Willow using her connections to help her boyfriend's career, it just made her double standards painfully obvious. Looking back, I find it almost laughable. When I came back into the office with my coffee, the first thing I heard was a long sigh. Makoto was shaking his head, looking helpless. He said, "George wouldn't do something like this. There must be some mistake. He couldn't have deleted my design files on purpose." The people around him immediately jumped in, offering sympathy while fueling the fire. "George was the first one in this morning, and you came second. Who else could have gotten into your computer? Come on. He's been eyeing this project for ages. Then the company gave it to you. Of course he's bitter. This is so low. The client is coming any minute now and the design files are gone. He's ruining our company's reputation." Makoto kept up the act. "It's my fault. I worked late last night and forgot to take my laptop home. If I'd kept it with me, this wouldn't have happened." With just a few words, his regret, their concern, they were already pinning the crime on me. I let out a laugh. I looked around coldly and said, "I didn't delete anything. Check the security footage if you don't believe me. I never touched your computer." Makoto's hand froze midair. Someone immediately jumped in. "Everyone knows Makoto's desk is in the corner. That camera's been broken for ages. If you're going to deny it, at least try harder." I asked. "So it's broken and there's no proof. Then why are you all so quick to accuse me?" A snide voice replied. "There were only 2 people here this morning, you and Makoto. If not you, then him. This is a major client. If things go wrong, someone could get fired. Who would take that kind of risk with their career?" The others quickly agreed. Makoto gave a bitter smile and said, "If you really wanted this project, I could talk to the higher-ups. We could co-lead it." "George, why would you do this? I worked so hard to get into this company. I really value this job." "Worked hard?" I almost laughed out loud. He got in through personal connections. What was so hard about that? The gossip around me grew louder and uglier. Everyone was piling on, ready to accuse and insult. Just as someone stepped forward, looking like they wanted to hit me, Willow walked in. She rolled her eyes at me and said with contempt, "George, I know you're bitter about me and Makoto. But this is just pathetic. If you can't have something, you destroy it. You're disgusting." That one sentence sealed the narrative. Worse yet, I had no evidence, nothing to defend myself with. After a moment of silence, I looked at Makoto. "What do you want me to do?" He hesitated, then said, "I don't want anything, just an apology. Just an apology." How generous he made himself seem. I smiled and said, "I'm not apologizing to you." Willow couldn't help stepping in. "It's just an apology. Makoto isn't even holding you accountable for the damage." "George, you're seriously ungrateful. What do you want? To be fired?" I cut her off. "You think I want to stay in this company? You think I need this company?" I tore the badge from around my neck and said, "One word at a time. Listen carefully. I wasn't fired. George, am quitting because I looked down on you. Makoto." I looked around at my co-workers, people I had spent every day with. They all avoided my gaze. They knew what kind of person I was. But now that Makoto had the client and was clearly on the rise, they couldn't wait to suck up to him, twisting truth and logic along the way. I said, "I have no desire to work with people like you anyway." Willow reflexively asked, "Then where are you going?" I answered calmly, "Abroad." Top firms overseas had extended offers to me long ago. The only reason I stayed in China was Willow. When she heard that, her face went pale. She sounded stunned, almost desperate. "You're leaving? You're quitting because of the company, or because of me? George, how could you be this heartless?" After that breakdown, Willow's voice slowly leveled out. She let out a cold laugh. "I doubt any company would hire someone who sabotages a coworker over a personal grudge. You'll get the job offer, sure, but the minute you do, this story's going to every inbox in that company." I rubbed my temples. "What's the point of saying all this? Where's your proof? You can't prove I did anything." Willow kept pressing. The corner camera's been broken for ages. Can you prove you didn't do it? Everyone here saw it. You've got more than enough witnesses to your pettiness. I was speechless. I couldn't believe how ignorant and shameless they all were. I was just about to fire back, when a clear, light voice cut through from behind. Who said the camera was broken? Chapter 9. Amid a chorus of gasps, Sophia walked in slowly. Her eyes passed over me briefly before shifting elsewhere. She blinked and said, I wasn't aware our company installed broken surveillance systems. Sophia and Willow had always been best friends. Willow worked in the company's procurement department, and when the company needed to install surveillance, it just so happened Sophia's firm specialized in security tech, so all the company's camera equipment came from her. Makoto fell completely silent. Sophia's words instantly shattered the atmosphere in the room. Makoto, clearly flustered, spoke quickly, as if trying to get ahead of something. No, I just meant the camera in the corner where I work. It's been broken for a while, but it didn't affect day-to-day operations, so I didn't mention it. It never got fixed. Willow walked over and asked, Sophia, what brings you here today? But Sophia didn't answer her. She walked to the corner, looked up at the camera, and suddenly smiled. With a soft hum, she said, funny thing, there was a fire safety inspection a few days ago. Turns out this camera was broken. So your boss asked us to replace it. Makoto's face turned ghostly pale. His lips parted like he wanted to say something, but couldn't. Sophia turned back around, her voice light and easy. So yeah, the camera's working just fine now. She didn't even look at me. Her eyes locked on Makoto's drained face. Ito-san, she said. Would you like me to pull the footage and clear your name? That morning's chaos ended with Makoto's sudden fainting spell. The footage was never retrieved. Willow defended him, claiming there had been a system bug and the recording hadn't saved. But looking at Makoto's pale face and his poor acting skills, everyone saw the truth. Still, Willow stood by him when I was being called despicable and shameless. Willow joined the chorus, piling on with everyone else. But when Makoto was exposed, when it became obvious he had framed me, Willow chose to stay by his side. In the past, this kind of double standard would have hurt me deeply, but not anymore. I touched the item tucked into my sleeve and smirked. Makoto, your little stunt won't be forgotten just because you played faint. And Willow, along with those who fanned the flames beside you, each and every one of you will pay for what you've done. Chapter 10. That afternoon, I submitted my resignation. Because of what happened that morning, the paperwork went through unusually smoothly. Maybe they just wanted me to shut up. Every bit of compensation was paid out in full. Outside the office building, I saw Sophia. She looked fresh and radiant, and greeted me with a bright smile. What? I helped you out that much, and you're not even gonna buy me lunch? Right on cue. The comment barrage exploded again. Honestly, Sophia's not bad. She's pretty, got a good head on her shoulders, and she's always liked the male lead. I wouldn't mind if they ended up together. Agreed. I used to be firmly team female lead, but she really crossed a line earlier. I'm kind of over it. You people are blind. Can't you see the female lead's just mad at the male lead? If he had just apologized, none of this would have happened. She's acting out because she still cares. Exactly. George is the real problem here. He still hasn't gone to win her back. Meanwhile, she's up every night with insomnia. I'm seriously disappointed in him. Fourth comment's dumb. You like the female lead? Fine, but I'm rooting for the male lead and Sophia now. I glanced at the barrage, then casually looked away. I ordered 2 coffees and a few desserts. Sophia fidgeted with her fingers, a bit nervous, then blurted out, actually, that message I sent before, I didn't send it to the wrong person. It was meant for you, she said. My family's well off. I look decent. Body's not bad either. I'm single right now, and my parents have been urging me to find someone, and if Willow could be your girlfriend, why not me? I'm not worse than her. So, what do you think? Want to give it a try, with me? The comment section exploded. OMG. Sophia just shot her shot. We're saved. I'm switching to Team Sophia. She's waited 2 whole years, hoping for the male lead to break up so she could take her chance. When Willow finds out her friend stole her ex, she's gonna flip. I can't wait. LOL. Sophia tucked her hair behind her ear, her voice soft. I'm a simple girl. You don't need to chase me, buy me gifts, or pay a dowry. Just be genuine with me, that's all I want. Then she added. And besides, don't you want to get back at Willow? Looking at Sophia, so innocent on the outside, I suddenly laughed. I said. So that's what this little performance was about. All that subtle manipulation. Too bad it sounds fake as hell. I stared at her stunned face, and said, slowly and clearly, what a shame. I only believe in myself, and I never believe in coincidences. I pulled out the item from my sleeve, a wristwatch. Smiling, I said, Miss Kim, care to guess what this is? Chapter 11. Yesterday at lunch, I ran into Willow and Makoto kissing at the company entrance again. The live comments were full of frustrated sighs. The male lead is such an idiot. The female lead's doing this on purpose, just to provoke him. Make him go beg for a reconciliation. Come on. By this point in the story, the male lead's supposed to get angry, argue with her a bit, and boom, they're back together. Why is he so calm now? I had no words. I was calm. As I walked past Willow and Makoto, I didn't even lift my eyes. Willow couldn't take it anymore. She snapped, You, don't you say hi when you see someone you know? I replied flatly. Someone. All I saw was two animals, so desperate in broad daylight they couldn't help themselves. Willow fumed and tried to storm over. But Makoto held her back and chuckled. No need to get mad, Willow. He's just a bitter single guy with no girlfriend. Honestly, it's kinda pathetic. The comments section added, Are the leads ever getting back together or not? I swear I signed up for a rom-com, not to watch this third wheel act high and mighty. Relax, it's coming. Tomorrow the second male lead messes up big time, frames the male lead for deleting his designs, and once the truth comes out, the leads make up. Right. And don't forget the second female lead. She saw the footage but deliberately waited to show up last second, so calculating. Still, I like arts under a female lead better. I stared at those comments for a long while. That very night, I ordered a micro camera, hidden inside a wristwatch. From the moment I stepped into the office the next day, everything was being live-streamed. In the footage, Makoto was grinning wickedly. He said, You're just in the way. You stole Willow from me in love, and in this company, you outshine me at every turn. George, your lucky streak ends today. The stream started with just a few viewers. But as the framing unfolded, viewership climbed rapidly. Tens of thousands watching by the time I was being falsely accused. Comments flew from shock to fury to full-blown outrage. WTF. This guy's the worst. Frames someone and plays the victim. What a trash human being. And the girl, seriously, her boyfriend just got exposed for planting evidence and she still sides with him. Oh right, system bug. Lying witch. I heard she got with Makoto literally right after breaking up with the male lead. Think about that, framing your ex with the guy you cheated on him with. That's stone cold. A disgusting pair. If their scheme had worked, this man's reputation and career would have been ruined. The backlash exploded. Outrage poured across the internet. Eventually, the design company couldn't handle the pressure. A few days later, they issued an official statement. Makoto was fired, due to the reputational damage he caused, along with the loss of clients and contracts. They were pursuing legal action and financial compensation. As for the other main character, Willow, her situation wasn't much better. Her photo went viral. Her identity and background were dug up. Even her family came under fire. Mr. Liu, her father, was furious. He dragged her home that same day and punished her according to the family's rules. Willow ended up collapsing and was rushed to the hospital. She couldn't get out of bed for a month. The moment she woke up, the first thing she did was try to call me. Of course, I didn't answer. She tried again with different numbers, until I got annoyed and changed my number entirely. At the same time, the overseas company I'd been in contact with had sent my official job offer. The day before I was set to leave the country, I ran into Sophia again. She looked tired. Her clear eyes fixated stubbornly on mine. She asked, You were with Willow for so long, why not give me a chance? I paused mid-step and asked back, But why should I give you a chance? Willow and I did have a good time once. We were still young, inexperienced, and I believed her when she told me to move out and make it on my own. She stayed by my side back then, lived with me in a damp basement apartment that cost $500 a month. On dates, we only ate cheap street food with big portions. Once I started working, my income grew, and my future looked bright. I really thought I had found the right person, but problems started creeping in. I gradually realized the flaws in Willow's personality. She always lost her temper at me, always chose to believe her friends over me. I thought that as long as I showed her love, I could hold our relationship together. But it turns out, that's not how it works. No relationship can survive on just one person's effort. If you ask me whether I regret it, I'd say yes, but sometimes, I also don't. When I love, I'm brave, I'm bold, I'm passionate, and that has never been a flaw. A single failed relationship can't destroy the rest of my life. It also doesn't get to define me as a person. Not completely. I know how to give love, and I know when to walk away. When I love with courage. When I stop, I let go with clarity. Sophia's expression darkened. She said, Fine, I admit it. I admit I was calculating. I admit I showed up on purpose. At the exact moment I'd have the most impact. But I only did it to leave a good impression on you. Her confession came quickly, almost like she was accusing me now. George, you're too suspicious. Isn't it normal to want to show your best side to someone you like? I gave a light laugh and asked. I seem to recall we met 2 years ago. Not just yesterday, right? among all of Willow's friends. Sophia was the one who belittled me the most. She always looked at me with disdain, mocking me for every little thing. That summer, I bought Willow a necklace. Sophia called me a stingy guy and said if I truly loved her, why didn't I put her name on the deed to my house? That autumn, Willow and I went on a late-night bike ride to another city. It was a lovely time, but right in front of me, Sophia told Willow, a real man takes his girlfriend for a drive in a luxury car, not a loser dragging her around on a bicycle in the cold. Willow's circle of friends always tore me down with sneers and mockery. Every word, every look, all saying the same thing. You don't deserve Willow. If you had any sense, you'd get lost. But we stayed together, and the longer we stayed, the more resentful they got. Every new encounter, they upped the intensity of their insults, and in front of Willow, their judgment of me only got harsher. I laughed and said, and let me guess, to drive a wedge between me and Willow, you probably offered to test me on her behalf, didn't you? Bet you didn't hold back on calling me a pervert, a creep, a shameless bastard. The way Sophia's face changed told me I was right. I said with a smile. Or maybe even worse, words so foul they'd be auto-flagged by any platform. So tell me, why would I give someone like you a chance? Sophia pressed her lips together and tried to defend herself. I didn't mean those things. I just wanted Willow to hate you. If you two broke up, then maybe I'd finally have a shot. I cut her off. So your so-called love is built on lies, manipulation, and slander. Then the guy who ends up dating you better watch out. He might wake up one day and find himself accused of assault. Just like the comment section always said, yes, Sophia did like me, but if I can't feel it, then it's not love, and if the affection's never expressed, then it's not real attraction. I read through those floating commentaries, but I kept my mind clear, calmly protecting myself from the shadows behind the script. As for the kind of love they talked about, whether from Sophia or anyone else, even Willow, I never truly felt it. I live beyond the scrolling comments, in a world far more vivid and raw. In the end, the only one who saved me was me. When I realized that someone who was cold and cruel to my face could harbor such twisted thoughts behind my back, I was sick to my stomach. I barely slept that night. It felt like I was being wrapped in sticky, poisonous snakes, dark, vile, suffocating. In the end, I left Sophia with one final line. With a heart as filthy as yours, none of you will ever deserve true love. Chapter 12. I saw Willow again 3 years later. I had returned to the country on business. Willow looked more mature than before, and noticeably thinner. She looked at me and raised a smile. George, she asked, can we talk? I turned her down. There's nothing for us to talk about, I said. The calm she tried to maintain cracked in an instant. Her voice trembled. George, you must know by now, it was Sophia and the others stirring things up. That's why we broke up. Why we've been apart all this time. I nearly laughed. Oh really? I said. You kissing Makoto, was that part of their plan too? Did they force you into that? Willow's face flushed bright red. She said, they told me you didn't seem trustworthy, that if I didn't do something, you'd never take me seriously, that it would make you feel threatened. So you'd focus all your attention on me. Stop looking at other women, stop fooling around. I cut her off, expression blank. So what you're saying is, you cheated on me, to prevent me from cheating. She pressed her lips together. That's not what I meant. I know I was wrong, but are you saying you didn't make any mistakes at all? I stood up and slapped her hard across the face. Through clenched teeth, I said, what did I do wrong? This slap is because you have no brains and can't tell right from wrong. Then came a second slap, backhand. Willow flinched but didn't move away. That one, I said, is for your hypocrisy. You crossed the line with another man but blamed me for it. My palm stung. So the third slap, I used my left hand. Smack, I growled. This one, I haven't even thought of a reason. Call it buy two, get one free. Willow didn't dodge. She stood there and took it all. I'm sorry, George, she whispered. Her eyes reddened with tears. Her voice shook as she said, I just didn't feel secure. You're so amazing. Anyone who spends time with you is bound to fall in love. That's why I was always anxious. That's why I kept testing you, starting fights, giving you the silent treatment, to see if you still loved me. But now I know that the worst thing in love is doubt and games. She was choking on her sobs now. It was nearly a plea when she said, George, can we start over? I looked at her, her eyes full of hope, and shook my head. No. If I were to forgive just because she repented, if an apology were enough to erase everything, then I would be betraying the version of myself who took years of sleepless nights to wake up. I turned away cleanly, even as Willow screamed behind me, desperate and broken. I didn't look back. There are always moments in life where we regret the past. It takes years to realize which misunderstandings and missed chances truly mattered, but once something's missed, it's missed. Time passed, and spilled water can never be gathered again. At her own birthday party, my fiancée publicly announced that she was going to marry another man. The guests exchanged glances and looked at me sympathetically. Unexpectedly, I started applauding and offered a ring as a blessing. I said, "May you have a long and happy marriage and many children." Chapter 1. I took off the ring from my finger and held it out, but no one accepted it. Rebecca clenched the hem of her dress, glaring at me with resentment. The boy beside her smugly wrapped his arm around her shoulder. I sighed and placed the ring on a nearby table. I casually pulled someone over. Celine, since childhood, she loved trailing behind me and Rebecca. She looked at me cluelessly and asked, "What's up, Rich?" I asked her, "Have you been drinking?" She said, "No." I tossed her my car keys. "I've had too much. You drive, take me home." "Got it." After just a few steps, Rebecca rushed over and grabbed me. "Richard, what do you mean by this?" I rubbed my temples and said, "Yesterday, due to an unexpected incident, we worked all night at the company. After the morning meeting, I went to the neighboring city. I only got back this afternoon and then went to get your gift. I originally just wanted to say happy birthday and leave." I glanced at my watch. "It's 8 o'clock now. I have another meeting at 10 and a flight to Paris at 6 tomorrow morning." "Miss, I'm too tired to play games with you." Rebecca stood there, utterly bewildered. I was genuinely exhausted. My temples felt like they were being drilled into. Without saying more, I broke free from Rebecca's grasp and left. Celine drove me to my doorstep. As I got out, I handed her the birthday gift I had prepared for Rebecca, a car key. Rebecca had wanted this car for a long time. I went through a lot of trouble to buy it. Celine asked in surprise, "You're giving this to me?" I nodded and said, "Take the key and pick it up from the dealership yourself." "Thanks, bro." This time, her gratitude was heartfelt. "Bro, are you breaking up with Rebecca?" "Yes, I'm canceling the engagement. If anyone asks, you don't need to hide it." "Got it." Rebecca really overstepped this time. You should have taught her a lesson long ago. I smiled, waved her off, and went inside. After showering, I forced myself to stay awake to finish the meeting. As soon as it ended, I collapsed onto the bed without any delay. When my secretary opened the door to wake me the next morning, I was still in a daze. It felt like I hadn't slept at all. Just closed my eyes for a moment. My phone was full of unread messages and missed calls. Some were curiously asking what happened between me and Rebecca. Others were gossiping about whether I was breaking up with her. Some expressed concern about how I was doing. Most echoed Celine's sentiments, that I should indeed teach Rebecca a lesson. Everyone thought I was just using this opportunity to curb her spoiled behavior and that we'd reconcile afterward. After all, in their eyes, I was hopelessly in love with Rebecca, loving her to the point of losing all principles. Chapter 2. Rebecca was the girl I liked when my feelings first blossomed in high school. Back then, she was beautiful and flamboyant, bright and dazzling, impossible to ignore. I was no exception, so I confessed to her, "Rebecca, will you be my girlfriend?" She looked at me with a hint of disdain and said, "Top student, I don't like goody-goodies." Because of her words, in my youthful recklessness, I did many absurd things: smoking, drinking, skipping classes, clubbing. I started hanging out with Rebecca, until one day, she appeared before us, arm in arm with a refined-looking boy. She said, "Let me introduce my boyfriend." I suddenly realized it wasn't that she didn't like good students, she just didn't like me. Rebecca couldn't swim but was as promiscuous as they come. She had many boyfriends. Later, in our sophomore year of college, I got engaged to her. Skipping the dating phase, we became fiancé and fiancée. This hit a nerve for her. She wept bitterly but said viciously, "You resorted to such unscrupulous means just to be with me. Don't you know I'll never like you?" What did I say back then? I remember. I told her, "It's okay. I don't need you to like me. I just need you to marry me." From sophomore year until now, Rebecca has been my fiancée for 6 years. In those 6 years, her flirtatious behavior never stopped. She flirted with and dated different men. Sometimes, I'd help her clean up the mess. Each time, I'd only ask her one question: "Did you sleep with him?" She'd ask, "What if I did? What if I didn't?" I'd tell her, "If you did, you're free." But she was strange. Despite having countless admirers, she never let anyone touch her. I really didn't know what she was holding on to. Chapter 3. It was 3 days after I returned from Paris. During these 3 days, I had no contact with Rebecca. However, people in our circle frequently informed me of her whereabouts. For instance, the men she said she was going to marry had already been dumped by her. She was hanging out in bars every day with people from our circle. Even Bruno threatened to sever their father-daughter relationship. Moreover, the car I gave to Celine was bought back by her at twice the price. What surprised me even more was that when I got off the plane, I saw Rebecca. Even wearing sunglasses couldn't hide the paleness on her face. She said, "Dad wants to invite you over to our place for dinner." "Sorry," I replied. I have other things to do and can't make it. I'll personally call Director Lou to apologize. Rebecca looked at me. After a moment, she turned and left, leaving only a cold, "Suit yourself." I didn't mind and drove straight home. I wasn't brushing her off. I really had things to do. Grandfather had called me, asking me to come home for dinner. He said it was for dinner, but in reality, it was to receive a lecture. "I heard you had a conflict with Rebecca." He was giving me an out, but I didn't accept his gesture. "Grandfather, I want to break off the engagement with the Lou family." Grandfather's face darkened. "Rebecca is a bit willful. Do whatever you want, but I absolutely won't agree to you breaking off the engagement. No, I want to call it off." Grandfather slammed the table. "Kneel down." I obediently knelt before him. "Do you know how much loss we'll suffer if we break off the engagement with the Lou family?" Of course I knew. Since our engagement with the Lou family 6 years ago. In 6 years, our cooperation with them had become increasingly seamless. Not to say we share glory and loss, but separating now would at least peel off a layer of skin. But I smiled lightly and said, "What if I can make up for that loss?" Grandfather calmed down. He tapped his fingers lightly on the table. "Then we'll talk after you've made it up." So after leaving the old house, I sent a message to my competitor. "Miss Lee, do you need a husband?" Chapter 4. Emily was the quintessential golden child among our generation. No matter who it was, at some point, their family would say, "Look at Emily, a well-rounded, wealthy beauty who excelled in every aspect." She disdained associating with spoiled rich kids. It was only after I started taking over the family business that I had interactions with her. How should I put it? The golden child my parents always mentioned. I finally had my revenge. Last month, she and I bid on a piece of land at the same time. I won. I narrowly beat her price. This victory has kept me smug in our circle to this day. After sending the message, Emily didn't reply for a long time. Not until 11 at night did she finally respond. She sent a question mark. I excitedly bounced up, hugging my phone with a wide grin. I called her directly. "President Lee, are you busy?" Emily chuckled politely. "What brings you to call me?" "President Wang." I got straight to the point. "Have you considered the question I asked you earlier?" Emily was silent for a moment. Then she said, "Husband." I took a sharp breath, although she spoke without emotion. That word hit me right in the heart. Did she just call me husband directly? Should I reciprocate? While I hesitated, she spoke again. "Are you trying to introduce me to someone, President Wang?" I was speechless. So it was a question. Good thing my mouth wasn't faster than my brain. So I said, "Mainly, President Lee, you're at a marriageable age, and I happen to have a suitable candidate. I wonder if you're interested." "Who?" "Me." Dead silence. Silence is the flute bidding farewell. Silence is the bridge of parting tonight. When I looked at my phone, the call had ended. A bit awkward. Of course, I wasn't going to give up that easily. So the next morning, I went straight to Emily's company. Seeing me, Emily frowned slightly, her gaze evasive as she said, "Do you need something, President Wang?" Was she pretending to forget? I wasn't going to indulge her. I said directly, "Opportunity knocks but once. Marrying me is a guaranteed profit with no loss. Place your order now and enjoy an ultra-value bride price package." Emily was speechless. She bit her lip and looked at me, saying, "Are you serious?" I said, "Did you think I was joking last night?" She said, "No, I thought you were drunk." "All right then." I looked at her sincerely and said, "And now, will you consider me?" Emily sized me up for a long time and said, "I heard you had a falling out with Rebecca. Seems true, but if even she doesn't want you, why should I take you?" She didn't refuse outright. That meant there was room to negotiate. So I said, "For the project on New D Street, I'll give you a 0.5% discount." Emily twirled the pen in her hand and said, 3%. Exploiting the situation, I looked at her incredulously. 1%, 3%, 1.5%, no more, 3%. I was starting to grit my teeth. "Don't push it. 2% at most. Deal." I was speechless. Emily said, "It's not about the money. I just like helping others." She's a total gold digger. Chapter 5. With things settled on Emily's side, I felt confident enough to negotiate with the Lou family. So I arranged to meet with Rebecca's father, Bruno. Unexpectedly, he brought Rebecca along. I hadn't seen her in a few days. She appeared even more despondent. Before entering the private room, Rebecca grabbed my arm. "Why didn't you call me?" "What?" "Our engagement is between the two of us. If you wanted to discuss it, why didn't you talk to me?" I looked at Rebecca quietly. Sometimes, I really envied her. Even now, she's still so naive. I spoke. "You're mistaken. Our engagement has never been just between the two of us." Rebecca stared blankly at me, her face pale. When we went in, Chairman Lou was already seated at the head of the table. We exchanged a few pleasantries. He said kindly, "I know Rebecca made you angry. I brought her today. She's an immature girl. If you have any complaints, Feel free to speak up. Uncle won't be biased. I smiled and said, I took the liberty of inviting you out today to discuss the marriage between me and the Liu family. Chairman Liu, I intend to dissolve this engagement. The relaxed atmosphere instantly froze. Rebecca abruptly stood up. She said word by word, I disagree. Chairman Liu's face darkened. Sit down, you brat. Rebecca met her father's gaze and sneered. What's wrong? Deciding behind my back again. You forced me into the engagement against my will, and now you're canceling it against my will. What do I even mean to you? Chairman Liu slammed the table. Then what do you want? You disagreed when we got engaged, and you've been causing trouble for 6 years. How much embarrassment have you brought to both the Liu and Wang families? If you don't want to cancel the engagement, then what exactly are you doing? Rebecca was stunned for a moment, then lowered her head. Chairman Liu gave her a deep look. Leave. Rebecca left. Not only did she leave, but she also took me with her. She moved so quickly, grabbing my hand and running, as if we were eloping, that I didn't even have time to react. I was speechless. What was this all about? Rebecca, what are you doing? She said nothing, but her hand gripped my arm tightly, squeezing harder and harder. I forcefully pulled her hand away, leaving 2 long red marks on my arm. I hissed in pain and cursed angrily. Can't you trim your claws? It was as if Rebecca just snapped back to reality. She glanced guiltily at the marks and cautiously asked, Are you okay? I felt a knot in my heart. I really didn't know what Rebecca was up to. I always thought the obstacle to breaking off the engagement would be the Liu family. Maybe Rebecca could even help me. I didn't expect she'd become the first roadblock. Rebecca, what exactly are you doing? Haven't you always wanted to cancel the engagement? Now that things are going your way, what are you fussing about? After hearing my question, Rebecca suddenly laughed, but it looked more like she was about to cry. Going my way? Does my opinion matter to any of you? Have you ever asked for my consent before making any decisions? I seemed to understand what she meant. So you feel that me proposing the cancellation hurts your pride? No problem, you can propose it. I can even tell everyone in our circle that you dumped me. I smiled and continued. Actually, it doesn't have to be so troublesome. Didn't you already announce that you had someone to marry? Us breaking off the engagement now is perfectly reasonable. She said. That's over. I asked. What? Rebecca looked at me and said, I never intended to marry anyone else. I was silent for a few seconds. But you'll eventually marry someone else. This was something I suddenly realized at her birthday party. 6 years, I was already tired, but Rebecca seemed to have endless energy, still causing trouble. The person at the party that day might not have been someone she truly wanted to marry, but sooner or later, she would get married. I'm not someone who likes to be passive, so I had to plan ahead and take the initiative. In the end, Rebecca and I parted on bad terms. She left with a resentful remark, Richard, this time it's not up to you. Chapter 6. Of course, it's not up to me. But it's not up to her either. This is something that needs to be negotiated. Before meeting Chairman Liu, I had already taken Emily to meet my grandfather. We had a meal together and chatted casually. We didn't say much. Those who understood. That night, grandfather relented. I'm old and can't manage you young people's affairs anymore. Do what you want. This time, I went directly to Chairman Liu's office. In and out in an hour. The engagement was cancelled. We agreed to announce the cancellation on our respective official websites at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Emily asked me, so what exactly did you offer the Liu family? At this moment, Emily no longer had her daytime aloofness, looking at me with curiosity. After leaving the Liu Corporation, I had called Emily, wanting to invite her to dinner. She directly told me to come to her place. I was a bit hesitant at first, then I thought, since our relationship was about to change, it wouldn't hurt to test the waters in advance. Turns out I overthought it. She was just off today and didn't want to go out. She didn't have any particular hospitality. She just had Aunt Zhang cook 2 prepackaged meals and opened a bottle of wine, but it was quite relaxing. I said, You're overthinking. Am I someone who would swallow my pride? Emily tilted her head, looking at me as if eager to hear more. I explained, Actually, the Liu family doesn't have much to hold over me. In these 6 years, no one was a fool. It was just mutually beneficial cooperation. There's only one thing, Clearwater Bay. The Liu family is the investor. If I break off the engagement, they'll withdraw their investment. If they withdrew, that land would be stuck in my hands, breaking my capital chain. So I urgently needed someone with funds, strength, and willingness to be a big, great person. I looked at her with sparkling eyes. Emily was speechless. She said, Don't look at me like that. I was full of confusion. She said disdainfully, You're making me feel like a big fool. My heart skipped a beat. Could she read minds? So I said, How could that be? You're my savior. Emily sneered silently, a look of disbelief on her face. So I teased, Look, to repay your life-saving grace, I'm even offering myself to you. If you don't believe me, I can offer myself anytime. Emily blushed and said, Stop being inappropriate. Seeing that it was 9:30, Emily and I both took out our phones. I said, we're announcing the news tomorrow. Tell me, would it be a bit unkind if I shorted the loose stock when the US market opens? Emily let out a short laugh. Ignoring me, I looked at her curiously. What are you doing? Seeing her phone screen, I hissed and said, you're being unkind. Emily looked up and said, right back at you. I had a bad feeling. Whose stocks did you buy? Emily said, of course, the Liu family and the Wang family. I was speechless. Chapter 7. The next day, the news of the broken engagement arrived as planned. The internet exploded, and so did the people in our circle. Groups of people called and messaged me, asking what was going on. Feeling overwhelmed, I posted a few words on social media. We've broken up. Please don't disturb. I had no choice. I was too busy. There was also a group of board members to appease. Unexpectedly, Rebecca barged directly into the conference room. My assistant looked helpless. She mouthed that she couldn't stop her at all. Rebecca didn't look well. I could even see the red veins in her eyes, as if she were furious. I said, please go to my office. I'll talk to you after the meeting. Rebecca let out a cold laugh and bit her lip. Richard, you're ruthless. Truly ruthless. It was you who said you liked me. You who chased after me all these years. You who insisted on marrying me. You. Bang. I slammed a folder onto the table, cutting her off. Elise, please continue the meeting. Yes, Mr. Wang. I glanced at Rebecca and walked out of the conference room. She followed me into my office. She said, feeling embarrassed now, aren't you, Richard? You brought all this upon yourself. I never asked anything of you, never forced you. It's you who kept pushing me. I looked at Rebecca coldly. After she finished speaking, I replied, indeed, it's quite embarrassing, but it's not my reputation that's tarnished, it's your Liu family's. Rebecca glared at me intensely, as if she wanted to bore holes through me. I continued, Rebecca, this isn't the first time you've trespassed into my conference room, but it will be the last. If it happens again, I'll have security escort you out. Rebecca, we're all adults here. Adults have their own set of rules. Not every place is somewhere you can come and go as you please. Rebecca seemed to have suffered a huge blow. Her face instantly turned pale. She murmured, you said you liked me, Richard. You can't do this. Seeing her like this, I felt a bit helpless. Rebecca, can you get a grip? Yes, I said I liked you, but when was that? The first time I told her I liked her was in high school. The last time I told her I liked her was also in high school. We were 17 then. Now we're 26, almost 10 years have passed. In 10 years, my interests, tastes, and style have all changed drastically. I've long forgotten what it felt like to like you 10 years ago. Besides, does the fact that I liked you even matter to you? Rebecca staggered back 2 steps. She said, so you haven't liked me for a long time? Yes, you haven't liked me for a long time. All these years, I've done so much, and you reacted indifferently, as if it didn't matter. Even when I kissed others, you acted like you didn't see it, and afterward, you'd warn them not to spread the photos. I kept testing your limits, but you had no boundaries with me. As long as I didn't sleep with others, it was fine. As long as I didn't sleep with them. Everyone thinks you're madly in love with me. But only I know, you don't love me at all. Rebecca shouted. Why? Why do you say you love me when you want to, and say you don't when you don't? Why do you decide to get engaged and then cancel it as you please? Richard, who do you think you are? I was a bit stunned and blurted out, because I have the ability to do so now. At the same time, I realized something was off. Rebecca, don't tell me you like me. Rebecca froze on the spot. She instinctively wanted to refute but suddenly held back, saying nothing. I felt it was somewhat absurd. Rebecca, who taught you to like someone this way? Rebecca seemed to see a glimmer of hope. I don't know how to like someone. I've been wrong all these years. I won't do this anymore. Let's not cancel the engagement. Okay. It was the first time she spoke to me in such a humble tone, but it wasn't necessary, I said. Rebecca, over the years, my criteria for choosing a partner have also changed. When I was young, I liked someone beautiful and flamboyant. But now, I like someone who can stand shoulder to shoulder with me. Someone with whom we can mutually respect and understand each other. You're not suitable. Rebecca never met my criteria for a partner, but the Liu family did. I used to think that if Rebecca wanted to fool around, so be it, as long as she didn't cause me trouble. But over the years, it's proven that she is trouble. Chapter 8. Emily called me. Your ex-fiancé is still pestering you. I chuckled and said, President Lee, your information is quite up to date. Emily sneered. It's not that I'm well informed. It's that your ex-fiancé is making too big of a scene. I felt a headache coming on. She kept referring to her as my ex-fiancé. Why did it sound a bit sour? But I wouldn't think she's jealous. Emily and I are the same kind of people. If someone were causing such a scene on her side, I wouldn't be happy either. I quickly promised. This is the only time. It won't happen again. Emily acknowledged with a hum. After hanging up, I told my assistant to inform the front desk that Rebecca would need an appointment if she came in the future. After a busy day, I finally appeased the board members. At the end of the workday, I unexpectedly received another call from Emily. Her tone was somewhat subtle. "Your front desk asked me to make an appointment." I was speechless, but that wasn't the main point. I asked, "You're here?" Emily didn't speak. I immediately understood. I said, "Please hand the phone to the receptionist." After resolving the issue with Emily, I instructed my assistant, "In the future, if Emily comes, don't stop her, let her come up directly." "Emily?" My assistant looked astonished. I nodded. She silently gave me a thumbs up. Emily arrived. She didn't come empty-handed. She even brought me dinner. I was indeed hungry, but 7 or 8 packets of ready-made meals were a bit excessive, so I tactfully expressed that I couldn't eat that much. Emily was speechless. She said, "Can't I eat with you?" So Emily and I rearranged a spot in the office. We ate while discussing the Clearwater Bay project. After all, she'll be holding my lifeline in the future, so I needed to be open with her. By the time we finished talking, we were full. I asked Emily, "You didn't come all this way just to bring me dinner, did you?" Emily raised an eyebrow. "I've already met your grandfather. When are you planning to go meet my parents with me?" Her sudden words startled me so much that the water I was drinking got stuck in my throat. I couldn't swallow or spit it out and ended up coughing. Emily looked at me with dissatisfaction and said, "You're not thinking of burning bridges after crossing them, are you?" I suppressed my cough and hurriedly said, How could I?" Only then did Emily's mood soften. She reached out and patted my back. She snorted, "Pathetic." After a long while, I finally calmed down. I felt a bit helpless. I said to Emily, "To be honest, I don't have successful experience interacting with elders." I shook my head and didn't say more. My parents died early. I was raised by my grandfather. As for my grandfather, he's extremely profit-oriented. He groomed me solely as an heir. So our relationship has always been based on interests. If I harmed the interests, I'd get punished. Feelings didn't matter, it was all business. But Emily's parents are different, because the one with whom I have a vested interest is Emily, not her parents. For a moment, I felt a bit melancholic, but Emily didn't mind at all. What's there to experience? Just cater to their preferences. My dad loves tea, and my mom loves beauty. I took a deep breath. When? Next weekend. All right, got it. Emily frowned at me. "What's wrong?" I asked. She sighed helplessly. "Don't act like you're marching to your doom. My parents won't eat you. Besides, I'll help you smooth things over." Chapter 9. Being with Emily is very comfortable. She understands boundaries and knows when to advance or retreat, never making you feel offended. And since being with her, I've been making more and more money. Could you be my lucky charm? Emily laughed and said, "Your ability to attract wealth isn't bad either." Satisfied, I extended my hand. "Pleasure working with you." Emily cooperated and shook my hand. "Pleasure working with you." I hadn't seen Rebecca for a long time. Just when I was about to forget her, she found me looking haggard. Recently, she'd been acting recklessly. Her clothes were becoming more and more revealing. She stayed in bars later and later. Every day, I could see all sorts of wild nightlife on social media. I even received a few calls. They said Rebecca wouldn't leave no matter what and insisted I go. They asked me to consider our past relationship and persuade her. Most of these people were blocked by me. Gradually, things quieted down. I didn't expect her to show up at my doorstep. She stood by the door, holding a bottle of wine. She seemed to have lost all vitality, looking lifeless. I pretended not to see her and was about to open the door and go in. Rebecca grabbed my hand. I whispered sternly, "Rebecca, let go." Rebecca's hand was trembling. Just as I hesitated whether to take action, she let go. I breathed a sigh of relief. As I was closing the door, Rebecca spoke. "I know everything." I was stunned. "What?" She looked up at me, tears seeming to well up in her eyes. Even her lips were trembling. She said, "My dad told me if it weren't for you choosing to get engaged to me back then, he would have brought his illegitimate son home long ago." Rebecca raised her arm to cover her eyes. "He actually has an illegitimate son, just 2 years younger than me, and I never knew." The day after we canceled the engagement, he let him into the company, and I didn't know. Not long ago, he transferred 2% of the shares to him, and I still didn't know until yesterday. He brought him home. He said that's my brother and told me to get along with him. How is that possible? Is he crazy? He said that if it weren't for you, he wouldn't have let his daughter inherit the Liu family's assets at all. He would have brought back his illegitimate son long ago. Rebecca lowered her arm. Her eyes were red. She asked me, "Richard, am I a complete failure?" I said calmly, "Yes, a complete failure." Rebecca gave a bleak smile. "You really hate me. You won't even give me a bit of comfort." She was drunk. I didn't want to reason with her. Rebecca took 2 steps back and leaned against the wall. She murmured, I always seemed to be the one left behind. When I was young, I rebelled against him, went against him. I thought that as long as I didn't do what he said, I could make him uncomfortable. I thought indulging myself was a punishment for him, but he had already given up on me. And you, Rebecca looked at me, half crying, half laughing. I was still trying to find ways to make you value me more, but you haven't liked me for a long time. I'm the only one spinning in circles while you've all moved forward. You're all moving forward, and I'm the only one left behind. You've all abandoned me. None of you want me. No one waited for me. None of you waited. She kept repeating similar words, completely immersed in her own emotions. I called her best friend. Not long after, she arrived in a sports car. Looking at me, she sighed. What kind of ill-fated relationship do you two have? I smiled without saying anything. Can't you give her another chance? I shook my head. You already called it an ill-fated relationship. She gritted her teeth and angrily helped Rebecca up. I knew she'd regret it. Serves her right. Chapter 10. Rebecca's situation made me lament youth for a moment, but besides that, it didn't affect me much. On the contrary, dealing with Emily's parents was a challenge. Emily's mother loves beauty, but buying cosmetics or skincare products was definitely out of the question. So I finally chose a diamond necklace. A woman loves diamonds till the end. As for Emily's father, the gift had to be tea leaves. I had a few options and planned to have Grandpa help me decide, but after Grandpa looked them over, he gave me 4 words: penny wise, pound foolish. I was helpless. They're already expensive enough. Grandpa snorted. Wait. After a while, he took out a cake of tea. Take this. Looking at the simple packaging, I said, are you trying to get me thrown out? Grandpa rolled his eyes. Can't you recognize a treasure when you see one? This one is worth 10 of what you're holding. Really? Get out. In the end, I took it. After all, why not? Before I left, Grandpa reminded me, when you go to someone else's house, speak nicely. Listen when elders talk. Don't argue. I was quite speechless. I wanted to retort, when have I ever argued? But saying that would seem like arguing. In the end, I could only shut up aggrieved. Soon, it was the weekend. I had the driver take me to pick up Emily. On the way, I was like a mute. The air in the car was suffocatingly quiet. Suddenly, Emily held my hand. What are you doing? Giving you some warmth, in case you die of fright before we get there. If I say I'm not nervous, would you believe me? She shook her head. I didn't say anything. All right, maybe a little nervous. So I directly put my arm around her shoulders. I said, this is what warmth feels like. She asked, are you sure you're not taking the opportunity to take advantage of me? I sneered, aren't I supposed to? She pursed her lips and nodded. The atmosphere at the Lee family was more harmonious than I expected. Emily's father cooked. The food was delicious. Emily's mother seemed only responsible for being beautiful, but she was indeed stunning, after all. She used to be an actress. They liked my gifts very much, especially Emily's mother, who put on the necklace immediately. It's just that the direction of the conversation afterward was a bit puzzling. Emily's father asked, when are you planning to get married? Emily looked at me. When are you planning to marry me? I really wanted to scold her. Was she trying to throw me under the bus? So I said, I can do it anytime. It's up to Emily. I'll follow her lead on this. Emily looked at me. I raised my eyebrows at her. She then said, my idea is to get the marriage certificate at the end of the month and hold the wedding at the end of the year. I was dumbfounded. Emily's mother was very happy, excitedly discussing wedding plans with us. I felt confused until we left. Sure enough, talking about money is easier. As I was leaving, she said seriously, let me know when you've made up your mind. Made up my mind about what? Get the marriage certificate at the end of the month, wedding at the end of the year. Emily said, in business, we need to add some insurance to our cooperation. Isn't marriage a natural thing? Lying in bed that night, I began to think about marriage. I weighed the pros and cons, analyzed gains and losses, and found myself in a dilemma. But after drinking a glass of water, I suddenly had an epiphany. Emily seemed to have given me a false proposition. I originally intended to marry her. Does it matter whether it's sooner or later? Obviously not. So I sent her a message. Emily, I've thought it over. Emily replied with a question mark. I ignored her and went straight to sleep. The next day, I told her, let's get married. Emily looked at me speechlessly and asked, are you sure? I was puzzled. Weren't we originally planning to get married? After saying that, I immediately signed a check for $200 million and handed it to her. Emily nodded, sincerely saying, impressive as always, Mr. Wang. It wasn't until years later, after our daughter was born, that Emily told me. Back then, I thought you'd give me a romantic proposal, but no. Impressive as always, Mr. Wang just handed me a check, no frills. So you agreed? Yes, making money is nothing to be ashamed of. Chapter 11. Emily and I scheduled our marriage registration for 3 days later, because on that day, Emily would officially invest in Clearwater Bay. Then, when we announce our marriage certificate, it would be a win-win. Today, someone from the Liu family was coming over to discuss our future collaboration. What I didn't expect was that the person who came was Rebecca. Surprised for 2 seconds, I quickly stood up to shake her hand. President Liu, pleasure to meet you. Rebecca looked at me, gripping my hand tightly for several seconds before letting go. She said, President Wang, pleasure to meet you. Without much small talk, we got straight to the point. What surprised me was that Rebecca didn't take the opportunity to propose any conditions. All the contracts were in accordance with the previous agreements. She said, rest assured, President Wang, our personal matters won't affect the collaboration between our families. I wasn't sure if Rebecca had done something behind the scenes, but it didn't matter. After all, only a fool wouldn't take advantage of a good deal. So we happily signed the contracts. President Wang, would you like to have a meal together? I nodded and said, of course. Since Rebecca decided to get involved in the company's affairs, we'd have plenty of opportunities to interact in the future. After all, it's wise to leave room for future encounters. Rebecca chose a place I often visited, though it was my first time going there with her. She ordered dishes that I mostly liked, but I pretended not to notice. I raised my glass. Thank you for your hospitality today, President Liu. I hope we have pleasant cooperation in the future. Rebecca looked at me with a bitter smile. Do we need to be so distant? Now that we're no longer engaged, can't we at least be friends? The more friends, the better. I put down my glass and said, of course we can. Rebecca was stunned. Her expression didn't look good. Do you really have no feelings for me at all? I felt a headache coming on. Having been through so many relationships, how did I not notice she was a hopeless romantic? Rebecca, since you're joining the company, focus on your work. Don't think about unnecessary things. Rebecca stared at me without blinking. If I do well, can you give me another chance? I was a bit puzzled. What chance? Rebecca said, Richard, I won't give up on you. I felt conflicted. How should I tactfully tell her that I'm about to get married? Rebecca, you can do anything you want, but not for me. I'm not responsible for someone else's life choices, she said. So all these years, you've never advised me. Whatever I wanted to do was my own business and had nothing to do with you. Once I did something that crossed your bottom line, you'd kick me away, right? Rebecca's emotions became agitated. I looked at her and said, so, are you blaming me? Rebecca's eyes showed panic. She said, that's not what I meant. I rubbed my temples. Rebecca, I've carved my own path through hard work and setbacks. I can't even be sure that the road I'm on is the right one. Why should I plan your life for you? Again, you can do anything you want, but don't involve me. I'm not responsible for your life choices. I got up to leave. Rebecca reached out to stop me. At that moment, the door of the private room was pushed open. Emily walked in. I heard from the manager that you were here. I stepped forward and put my arm around her shoulder, saying, let me introduce you. This is Emily, my wife. Ignoring Rebecca's pale face after her stunned reaction, I pulled Emily away. What? Using me? What? Aren't you? Am I? Has the law recognized it? Then can I exercise my husband's rights in advance? Emily chuckled softly and held my hand. Of course you can, hubby. Chapter 12. It seemed I had greatly upset Rebecca. She grabbed me regardless of the occasion. Don't do this, Richard. Don't treat me like this. You're lying to me, right? You're taking revenge on me, aren't you? Her eyes were full of pleading as she looked at me. Before I could react, Emily directly slapped her and said, Miss Liu, please have some self-respect. Rebecca covered her face. Her eyes filled with rage. She growled, get lost. Give Richard back to me. Emily smiled slightly and said, Miss Liu, you and Richard have already cancelled your engagement. She shouted, this is between Richard and me. It has nothing to do with you. With that, she quickly raised her hand to hit Emily. But just as she was about to make contact, I grabbed her hand, pulled forcefully, and pushed her to the ground. Are you okay? I asked, looking at Emily with concern. Rebecca, who had been looking at me, now had the light in her eyes extinguished. I sneered at Rebecca and said, Rebecca, this is really meaningless. Whether you're truly regretful or not, we've already cancelled our engagement. So please swallow your emotions, even if it bites, and stop bothering me. Emily and I went down to the underground parking lot. Before getting into the car, she suddenly pulled me. What's wrong? She looked at me with a smile in her eyes. President Wang, you're pretty cool. I found that I kind of like you. I raised an eyebrow. Just a little. Emily said. Then, a bit more. I lifted my hand to smooth her hair and said, approved by President Wang. We have a partnership. We're going to get married. We might even spend a lifetime together. I don't mind developing feelings with Emily. 2 days later, Emily and I got up early. We rushed to the Civil Affairs Bureau, where our assistant had already taken a number for us. Shoulder to shoulder, head to head, we took a registration photo. To be honest, My heartbeat accelerated at that moment. We obtained our marriage certificate as quickly as possible and then hurried back to the company. Emily officially invested her funds. Then, our official website posted our partnership and marriage certificate. Mr. Wong, happy newlywed. Looking forward to our cooperation. Mrs. Wong, happy newlywed. Looking forward to our cooperation. Chapter 13. After registering our marriage, Emily and I moved in together. I bought a property very close to both our workplaces. We're very compatible, whether in work or in life. This made my life gradually more fulfilling. Feeling triumphant, I began to expand my business territory. I wanted to dabble in any profitable industry. No way around it. After a strong alliance, one becomes bold. Gradually, Emily and I were dubbed the money-making couple. I gladly accepted this title. I hadn't followed news about Rebecca for a long time. When I heard about her again, she had already been sent abroad. This made me quite curious. Her father was indeed very disappointed in her. No matter what, she was the daughter he had loved most since childhood. His grooming of an illegitimate son wasn't because he preferred sons over daughters but because he wanted Rebecca to get back on the right path. The Liu family wasn't a feudal household. There was no throne to inherit, so there was never any talk of abandonment, especially since Rebecca had now started doing proper work. So what exactly happened that made them send her abroad? I asked Emily. She hesitantly explained to me. She wanted to fight me to the death, and her dad found out. Fight to the death? How? Rebecca's idea was simple, steal business. She wanted to snatch it aggressively, regardless of cost or profit, but she had no say in the company. As soon as she issued the orders, her dad found out. They had a heated argument. Rebecca threatened that she wouldn't let Emily have peace. Such willfulness made her father completely disappointed. To prevent her from causing trouble, he simply sent her abroad. Why didn't you tell me? She glanced at me. Tell you what, that your ex-girlfriend is still hung up on you. Are you that idle? Of course I'm not idle. I'm very busy. I have to manage business and prepare for the year-end wedding. My plan was to outsource it and accept various sponsorships. When Emily heard this, she pouted and came over to kiss me. In the end, I had no choice but to reluctantly, helplessly, and unwillingly compromise. Later, that wedding was arranged by me to be very grand. Like a dream, Rebecca also came. She was dressed elaborately, as if to steal the groom, but she did nothing, sitting quietly and leaving quietly. Afterward, Emily tiptoed and kissed me. She said, Mr. Wong, please take care of me for the rest of our lives.